Pedagogical approach in KAWA CONNECT. Dear teachers, pedagogy is more than just teaching methods. It's about how we relate to learners, how we motivate them, and how we make the learning process enjoyable and rewarding. The competence-based curriculum shifts us from content-heavy delivery to learner-centered facilitation. So this KAWA Connect supports this by giving you structured activities, projects, and interactive resources that match the curriculum. So we need to take this up, making learning enjoyable, practical, and rewarding for every learner. Now let me go through learning through problem solving. Problem solving is at the heart of the curriculum. It helps learners apply knowledge, think critically, and innovate instead of just memorizing those facts. But how does this work in class? Learners should be presented with real-life problems and guided to work through them in groups or individually. And this involves the following things which we are going to highlight here. We're going to go through this one by one. Let's start with designing models, building a smaller prototype to test an idea. We also look at working as a group, encouraging collaboration and teamwork, making extended decisions, comparing different solutions and selecting the best, then testing solutions, trying out their ideas, checking what works, and improving from the observations you've seen. Let me share just a few examples from biology or physics. How can we reduce plastic waste in our school? So students can do research from KAWA Connect and come up with their content on the effects of plastic, design recycling model, and present solutions. The outcome will be learners design a recycling plan or prototype bins. In mathematics, we may say our school wants to build a water tank. How do we calculate the best size and the cost? So students use KAWA Connect math guides to calculate volume, surface area, and estimated costs. And they come up with a practical budget and design proposal. In ICT and entrepreneurship, how can local farmers sell their products more easily? And the students work in teams using videos from KAWA Connect to learn app design, how to design an app using App Inventor. Then they sketch out a simple mobile app on paper or on a computer that connects farmers to buyers. And as an outcome, they will have a product, a prototype digital marketplace. This can be presented to national competitions funded by UCC. In geography, we may have a problem to do with how our community is facing flooding in every rainy season. So students research weather patterns, they map the school area using the KAWA Connect materials and propose drainage solutions. And they come up with the student-led presentation to school leaders with suggested outcomes. But why does this matter to a teacher? So teachers no longer need bundles of internet resources. Everything is available from the KAWA Connect, and you can find teaching very, very easy when you go through all these suggested strategies. Let's look at learning through ideas. Learners must be given space to think, ask questions, and explore. This method moves away from teacher talking, learner listening, to active exploration. But what are the key strategies? Strategy number one, which we are going to go through, which we are going to explain, all of them are here from concept mapping to open-minded experiments. Let's start with the concept mapping. Learners create diagrams that connect ideas and concepts. This helps them stay organized. It helps them organize knowledge visually. For example, in biology, learners create a concept map showing relationship between photosynthesis, sunlight, chlorophyll, glucose, and energy. And then maybe take an example of brainstorming. Now, brainstorming, learners share many ideas as possible without judgment. It encourages creativity and broad thinking. For example, in entrepreneurship, students brainstorm business ideas after reading case studies in the KAWA offline library. Then we can look at inquiry and curiosity. Learners explore topics by asking why and how. So teacher guides rather than just gives answers. For example, why do plants bend towards light? This may be in biology. So why do plants bend towards light? Then test it through experiments and they come up with the solutions. And then now we come to predict, observe, explain. Learners predict what will happen, observe the experiment, and then explain the result. Take the example, physics. Predict what will happen when a ball is dropped on different surfaces. So they predict, they observe with the demo, and then explain using the resources available on KAWA Connect and also what they have done. Now let's look at open-mindedness. So instead of giving fixed steps, learners design their own methods. This encourages independence and creativity. So take the example in agriculture. Instead of giving the procedure, ask learners, just open-ended questions. Ask learners, how can we test which soil is best for maize? So learners design their steps using KAWA Connect resources and a lot of resources on soil, and so come up with their open-ended experiments. And the thing works. If it doesn't work, still they will come up with a solution and they'll talk about it confidently. Now let's look at learning through people. Learning through people. Learning becomes more effective when students learn together and from each other. So collaboration builds confidence, communication, and leadership. But how can this work? Let's go through the key strategies, starting with the peer teaching. Learners teach each other what they understand. Take the example, after studying some resources, maybe in geography from KAWA Connect, e.g. climate change, groups prepare lesson notes where one learner explains causes of climate change, another one explains effects, another one suggests solutions. So here you would have encouraged peer teaching. Let's talk about cooperative learning. Smaller groups work on tasks, each member contributing an idea. Take an example in the ICT. One student codes, another one designs, another one documents the process, another one prepares a presentation, and they get guidance from KAWA Connect, and so the project is done. The same applies to any project which is done by students. Cooperative learning is experienced and is considered very, very important. Now let's look at interviews. So learners practice communication by interviewing people, and they get first-hand information. So using KAWA Connect, they get their ideas here, and finally they go to the field and they interview, or they can even interview on phone. So take the example of entrepreneurship content. Students interview local shop owners on business challenges, then compare findings in class. Then we're going to end with the visits, and also talking to visitors. Learners meet different professionals or visit sites for real exposure. For example, learners prepare guiding questions, then visit a local health center to understand community health challenges, and so they interview and get first-hand information. But what is your role as a teacher? You facilitate group work so every learner participates, so that there's nobody dominates the conversation while others are keeping quiet. There is no learning. Ensure that every learner makes a contribution. So use KAWA Connect lesson guides to guide you, but also keep watching these videos from KAWA. We are helping you to ensure that things are done very, very well. And also use ICT Club website. We're providing some resources there. So encourage learners to reflect together on what they have discovered. Now let's go quickly to look at learning through different methods. So different teaching methods bring out different skills in learners. You know that when you use debate, may get different skill. When you use storytelling, you get a different. So the curriculum here and our KAWA Connect here, we encourage teachers to use a variety of approaches rather than sticking to one single method. Now let me take you through the key strategies and examples. Debates here. The debates sharpen critical thinking. For example, learners debate, should Uganda ban plastic bags? So here using KAWA connected resources, they get their views and you leave them to speak out. Then we come to storytelling. This builds creativity and strengthens memory. In literature, learners retell a focal tale they studied and they adapt it to modern life. For example, with the phones, with the border. Then now look at discussions, small group and class-wide discussions. This promotes collaboration and sharing. Take an example in biology. Groups discuss how can we prevent malaria in our community. Then report findings to the class. And while you are doing this, don't forget creative writing. This allows imagination and expression. In English, for example, learners use prompts from KAWA Connect here, and then they write short stories about a day without electricity at home. So the thing works well. Now, let's look at quality questioning. This pushes learners to think deeply. In mathematics, instead of saying what is the answer, the teacher asks, why do you think that method works better than another? And finally, we look at projects, project work. Projects allow learners to apply knowledge practically. In entrepreneurship, learners design a small business plan using case study templates that may come from KAWA, and they learn better. So as a teacher, select methods depending on a topic and learners' needs, and also pick good resources, pick videos here, but take note that you must balance creativity, discussion, and structured questioning to keep learners engaged. Now let's go through learning through presentation. Learners must not only learn but also communicate their knowledge effectively. Presentations give them confidence, teamwork skills, and the ability to connect theory with practice. So key strategies which we have here, we're going to go through one by one. Role play. Learners act out real life scenarios to demonstrate understanding. Learners role play a community meeting discussing how to stop deforestation. Then we come to things like drama. Creativity, cultural expression leads to deeper memory. In literature, learners dramatize a poem or a short story studied from the content in the class. Then we also look at talks and reports. Learners explain their research on project findings to the class. In science, for example, students prepare a short talk on renewable energy using the notes, and so they talk about it. Now, let's look at the demonstration. Learners show how it works in front of peers or in front of the school. In agriculture, students demonstrate how to set up a nursery bed after reading or after studying or watching some videos from KAWA. Then we also have learners, posters here. Learners create posters to summarize ideas visually. Very, very important. In biology, groups create posters showing the human digestive system, and also they can create it using the computer and put it on the KAWA Connect to share the rest. Then we also have simulations. Learners recreate real systems or events in class. They simulate it. In business, a group stimulates a smaller market with buyers and sellers applying principles that have learned. So, as a teacher, provide learners with presentation opportunities regularly. Use templates and guides from KAWA to help learners structure their reports, posters, and demonstrations. Encourage feedback sessions where peers and teachers highlight strengths and the areas for improvement. Now let's look at learning through research. Research builds independence, curiosity, and problem solving in learners. Instead of waiting for answers, learners are guided to find out for themselves. But what are the key strategies that will bring very, very good results? Let's start with small group research. Small group research. Learners work in groups to investigate a topic. Take the example in biology. Use offline resources to research adaptation of plants in dry areas and then share findings. You can also use digital resources, but let's first focus on library assignments. Use digital or physical resources to gather information. Now you can get from KAWA Connect e-library to compare renewable versus non-renewable energy resources. We also encourage data analysis. Learners collect and interpret data. In mathematics, groups record rainfall over a week, then use the digital resources to analyze pattern and present graphs. Then finally, collection of material. Learners gather samples of information for study. They gather samples or information for study. In agriculture, students collect soil samples, then compare their properties using guidelines from the digital sources. So the teacher's role here is to guide learners in formulating research questions, show them how to use good resources, content from books, videos as references. Encourage learners to present their research through posters, reports, demos, or videos. Remind them that research isn't just about finding answers, it's about asking the right questions. Even in schools without internet, KAWA Connect ensures learners have access to rich offline content for research, empowering them to learn like global citizens while grounded in local context. Let's look at learning through experience. Learners grasp concepts faster when they relate them to their own lives. This approach transforms abstract lessons into practical, memorable experiences. Now, the key strategies and examples here, we look at learners' personal experiences. Learners' personal experiences. Encourage students to share their own real life situations connected to the lesson. In business education, learners share how their families save money, then link it to the lessons on financial literacy. Then we can also focus on investigations. Learners explore local issues to apply classroom knowledge. In science subjects, learners investigate why borehole water tastes different from rainwater, guided by the content here in chemistry. And also, we encourage talk about hands-on activities. Learners learn by doing. So, take the example of agriculture. Learners practice planting seedlings directly after following some of the learning materials here. Then we'll come to interactive learning, using digital and offline tools to engage students. So, teacher, as a teacher may project the video or any diagram or even a picture, or quizzes, and learners interact with the content in groups. Then we're looking at field excursions, linking classroom theory with the real world. In geography, learners visit a nearby wetland, then use the resources, the KAWA CONNECT resources, to record observations and biodiversity. So also make sure that you have good lesson plans. So guide learners in connecting classroom theory with the real world application. Encourage reflection sessions where students share what they learned from their general experiences, and so there we move better. Let's look at learning through skills and the processes. So the curriculum shifts from memorizing facts to developing skills, attitudes, and the values that learners can apply in real life. But what are the key strategies here? Let's go through the key strategies, like investigative processes. Here, learners ask questions, they collect evidence, and draw conclusions. I'll give an example. In chemistry, learners investigate factors that affect the rate of reaction using guided experiments from the book, the e-book here in the KAWA Connect. Then also we look at practice and mastery learning. Learners repeat tasks until they achieve a competence. In mathematics, learners use practice exercises in the resources until they confidently solve quadratic equations without help. So that is also very important to go towards mastery. Then skills development, building practical and technical skills alongside theory. Very important. In ICT, learners follow the tutorials. They can follow the videos to create simple websites or presentations. That is skills development. And pick your examples in every subject. See how we can be able to do that. Then the concept of value clarification. Learners reflect on moral choices and social responsibility. In Christian religious education, learners use the case studies from the resources here to discuss honesty in exams or responsibility at home. And finally, also look at process writing. So learners learn to write in stages, starting from planning, drafting, editing, the final concept. In English, students use the resources here, writing guides to draft, peer review, and refine ideas. But what's the teacher's role here? Focus less on teaching facts and more on guiding learners through process. So use the resources to design activities where learners investigate, practice, and reflect. Encourage mastery. Don't rush. Let learners repeat tasks until they gain confidence. So with the KAWA Connect, teachers get ready-made exercises, investigative tasks, and the processes based on lesson plans that support real skill development. This ensures that learners leave school not just with knowledge, but with practical competencies that are very, very useful for life. In conclusion, dear teachers, pedagogy under the competence-based curriculum is about learner-centered, enjoyable, and skills-focused teaching. Our KAWA Connect here provides structured support for all the methods we have discussed, ranging from problem solving, ideas, people, methods, presentation, research, personal experience, and the skills and processes. It equips you to make learning interactive, inclusive, and rewarding. Thank you so much. May God bless you.